All right, good afternoon and good morning to some of you. Welcome to IIUSA's 2020 Mid-Year Association Update. Thank you for joining us. We wanted to take this opportunity to give you all a chance to hear about what we've been up to at IIUSA and all of the things that we've been doing so far in 2020 since you last heard from us from our association update in January. And despite what some might think, it's actually been quite a busy year for us. And so we're really excited to give you an update on everything we've been doing with our association work, committee work, government affairs, and so on. Just a quick couple housekeeping items before we get into our agenda. All participants are on mute and should not have their cameras on. So the only people with their cameras on will be our speakers. And there's also a chat function on your screen. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please use the chat function. Some of them, if we need to, we can answer them throughout, but we will have a Q&A session at the end. So feel free to use that for any questions that come up during the webinar. I'm going to kick it over to our Association Executive Director, Aaron Grau, to get things started.
Thank you, Ashley. It's my pleasure to welcome you to IIUSA's Association Update. I'm grateful all of you are able to join. However, it cannot be said enough that the conversation would be that much better in person. Despite being apart, however, as Ashley mentioned, now and for the entire year, communications have been easy among staff and with membership and effective, allowing the association's work to continue. And to set the stage for the rest of the update, I'd like to share my perspective on at least three of the highlights from IIUSA's work this year so far. First of all, the association's economics, what I see 2020 has giveth and what it has taketh away. Our association, like many others, relies on its events and its gatherings to exchange ideas and to create non-dues revenue. Whereas our events, as expected, have fallen well short of planned revenue goals, so too have our costs. So much so that in conjunction with prudent budgeting, our financial position is as strong as if 2020 were like any other year. And I'd like to take this opportunity, just a moment, to recognize Mackenzie Penton and Ashley Casey, because it's never just prudent budgeting or cost savings that assures an organization's financial stability. Mackenzie's and Ashley's tenacity and their creativity in developing and coordinating our virtual events in 2020 have been and will continue to be invaluable. And I am grateful to you both. What we've lost, like many others, is the chance to be together. Abraham Lincoln said, "The better part of one's life consists of friendships." I agree, and to that end, I look forward to seeing all of you in person at our Orlando event this coming spring. Observation number 2, IIUSA's advocacy and our voice. Thus far in 2020, the association's members' collective ability to discern key issues and challenges, communicate, cooperate, tackle complicated issues has made IIUSA more relevant and more impactful than ever. Through our committees, through our leadership circle and membership input, we are challenging new redeployment policies, we are debating per-country cap legislation, and we are clearly illustrating EB-5 as the economic development tool that Congress intended. Add to that our inauguration of the Leadership Circle's advocacy program, in which members of the Leadership Circle are given critical collateral to share with their networks and their communities to expand support for EB-5's reform and long-term reauthorization. Thus far, we have developed collateral including op-eds, a very impactful letter of support to be discussed in a moment, as well as at least 2 videos. One of the videos I look forward to sharing with you in just a moment. The Leadership Advocacy Program is generating growing support and validation, most importantly for our reauthorization initiatives, from what I consider to be outside organizations. Organizations like mayor's offices, chambers of commerce, and large trade associations that have been impacted by the COVID-19 economic downturn. More to be said about all of this in a moment and how we're leveraging it. For now, take pride and comfort in knowing that our voices are unified and growing louder. Finally, an observation about the association's new attitude. 2020, despite its turmoil, gave IIUSA the opportunity not only to be heard as the EB5 community's definitive voice, but to be seen as a renewed and refreshed association with a new logo, a new website, which we will definitely get into in a moment, new relationships at home and abroad, new members, and new and powerful data tools. And I would be quite remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to laud and thank Lee, whose analytical expertise and ability to parse data for the rest of us are one of the association's clear strengths. Assets, along with our new image, help create a new attitude for IIUSA and sets the stage for new accomplishments, meaningful and successful advocacy, and an even broader membership platform in 2021. Once more, thank you for joining us this morning or this afternoon. And before I turn it over to our chairman, Mr. Kraft, I would like to share our latest video and encourage you to visit the website for a more clearly audible version and begin sharing it with your communities and your network. Do we have audio?
Lee, it seems like we can't hear the audio. I'm not sure if Lee can hear me.
Oh, that's a shame. Perhaps a quick text, and if we can restart the video to Lee and maybe restart the video with a chance for audio. Otherwise, definitely encourage everyone to visit the website.
I will.
EB5 was an economic
Lee, can we start it over?
creating and saving 730,000 jobs and generating over $20.6 billion in economic investment, all at no cost, living in uncertain times. We are currently in the harshest economic period since the Great Depression, with unemployment reaching levels not seen since 1933. During these times, we need to come up with untraditional and creative solutions. The EB5 program, which allows qualified international investors to help spur economic development and job creation projects, is that solution. This program has been in place for 30 years and has proven to be effective during a recession. Between fiscal year 2008 and fiscal year 2015, as the nation looked to recover from the Great Recession, EB5 was an economic catalyst, creating and saving 730,000 jobs and generating over $20.6 billion in economic investment, all at no cost to the U.S. taxpayer. In fact, EB5 investors are taxed on worldwide income, contributing significantly to U.S. tax revenue. The program requires each investor to invest a minimum of either $900,000 or $1.8 million into our economy, and each investment must create or save at least 10 American jobs in order to qualify for a visa. This program has operated for 30 years with tremendous success and has the potential to make an even greater impact, which would give our economy the spark that it needs right now. Now that you understand how EB5 investments impact our economy, consider this. Every year, the United States allocates 10,000 EB5 visas. However, right now, EB5's true power is restrained by counting an investor's family members as part of the 10,000 visa allocation, leaving only 1/3 of the 10,000 visas for investors. Not counting family members from the annual EB5 visa allocation unleashes EB5's full potential. If each visa applicant invests the minimum $900,000, those 10,000 visas would equal $9 billion in investments. And $9 billion would stimulate so much more. These investments would trigger a catalytic impact across the country. With these changes, this program has the potential to generate at least $9 billion, as well as create or save at least 288,000 jobs every year. This will create a domino effect that will have exponential growth results and spark more investment in job creation in our economy. We now urge Congress to reform and reauthorize this program to meet the unique challenges created by COVID-19. Show your support for the long-term reauthorization of the EB-5 program that has historically helped create and save hundreds of thousands of American jobs. Sign IIUSA's public letter of support to Congress by visiting iiusa.org/letter. We are.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. Also like to add some thanks. I'd like to thank our executive director. Aaron's done a fantastic job for the association and staff, truly exceptional. And our officers have put a significant amount of time into the business this past period of time. And since they assumed those roles, Bill Gresser and Steve Strnisha, the board of directors has spent an inordinate amount of time kind of working through everything to make sure we are well positioned for the future. And a thank you to all our committee chairs. Those people have put in an awful lot of time leading members who are participating in the committees. It's greatly appreciated. Our leadership circle, as Aaron mentioned, is greatly appreciated. And last but not least, thank you to the membership for believing in the association and what we're doing. 2020, as Aaron mentioned, for all of us globally, U.S. businesses in general, but the EB-5 industry has been a pretty tough year, unprecedented in world history. But through that all, IIUSA decided to rethink, to reposition, to take advantage of the lull and maybe rethink the way we run the association and the tools that are available for membership to come out of it. And we will get out of this stronger and better than ever. As Aaron touched on, we're in very strong financial position. That's thanks to the efforts, again, of the staff and all the members believing and continuing to support. And we've actually expanded significantly our membership, which is a tribute to the staff. We, for the first time in my memory, truly have total industry support for the program. And while things have been a little slow in terms of actual transactions in the business, we have been very, very busy and aggressive building a stronger coalition than we've ever had. So as we come out of the current situation, our network of support is stronger and unanimous. Hopefully after the election and after we start to return to normal, we'll be in a position to aggressively move forward the association's goals to extend the program for a significant amount of time with major changes which will protect the investor and improve the program for everyone. During tough times like this and challenges, you really have two options. You can kind of crawl into a corner and succumb to what's been an impossible situation for everyone, or you can decide to fight and make the best of a bad situation, address opportunities that exist to be better once things return to normal. And that's what IIUSA has decided to do. And I suspect that most of our members have done that. We hope that we'll get back to normal sooner rather than later, but who knows? But in the meantime, the industry is in as strong a position it's ever been financially, and our membership is robust. So again, I just want to, as I turn it over, thank Aaron and the staff and all our partners globally, which has expanded also significantly, for participating, sharing the vision that we have, which is to protect a program that in 2008, 2009, during that period of time coming out of that recession, played a significant and very important role in the recovery in the United States. We think if properly implemented and with the changes that we're proposing, EB-5 can once again become a very, very significant, meaningful player in the recovery that is ahead of us. So I'm proud to be part of the industry. I'm proud and honored to be president of the association, and I look forward to this upcoming year, and hopefully sooner rather than later we'll all be able to convene together. So Aaron, I'll turn it back to you, and thank you very much.
Aaron, I can go ahead and transition to our next section on the agenda here. I'm going to turn it over to George McElwee and Keith Pemrick, who are our government affairs team here at IIUSA. I believe there's Keith. All right. So I will let you all take it away for our government affairs update.
Great. Thank you, Ashley. And thank you, Bob, and also to Aaron and the team. It's been as we've seen, I mean, we continually hear the top issues will always be, have been for the year COVID and the response to that. And then we're seeing, obviously, the economic turmoil that it's caused and kind of where we fit into that plan. So what we've been doing is really trying to raise the profile of IIUSA, but through the EB5 program as a necessary tool. So that's kind of what we've been doing in the immediate, and what we've been trying to do. And that's why the development of that video has been so important. And we can get into a little bit more of that too. I would say right now in the immediate, what we're looking at is the close of the fiscal year. So at the end of the month, we will be seeing what our program would normally expire. With that date, obviously, we're working toward to make sure that now we're talking about a continuing resolution that the Regional Center program would be extended through the next continuing resolution. In our outreach to the Judiciary Committee, asking them if they see any issues with that being extended and put into the CR, they kind of given us assurances that there is no problem and that will be extended. Right now, we're just hearing rumors. There hasn't been anything that we know of, but the rumors are that the CR would go to December 18th, so it would go past the election. The House is expected to vote on a continuing resolution possibly as early as next week, which would then give the Senate enough time between then and the 30th to actually have their vote too, and then get it to the president's desk for signature. They are looking at this as what we would refer to as a clean CR. I think that there are going to be some surface transportation and some other extensions that would be put into the CR. However, there won't be any of the contention of the stimulus packages that are surrounding COVID put into it. So they are trying to get it. So we do see ourselves being extended now once again with the next continuing resolution if it is December 18th. During that time frame, from when it's signed and then through December 18th, we'll be continuing to make our advocacy and trying to see if we can still move this forward and making sure that people, members of Congress and staff, understand the positive role that EB5 can play and will play if given the runway into our economic recovery. So that's something that we'll be working on. Another issue that's popped up recently again, and it has popped up in I guess a number of Congresses before this, is our per country cap removal. So we refer to it as a 386, S386 or HR 1044. If some of you may have seen a couple of weeks ago, probably now a month ago, there was a dust up on the Senate floor where Senator Lee from Utah was trying to move his bill, which would have been the removal of the per country caps. There was a negotiation and acceptance of some language from Senator Durbin, which we thought then was starting to move it forward again, but then Senator Scott from Florida came up and objected as well. So we now still continue to have a hold on that bill. We are doing our outreach and trying to see if there will be any movement between now and the election on that bill again, to see what we can be doing to ensure it. One, if there's a fix of some sort for EB5, or if it will be a hold. We are working with members of the association to ensure that we're coordinating our message, and that's what we've been doing, and we will continue to do that. So rest assured, we are working on that as well. As we kind of look to what's going to happen now going back to that CR between now and then if it's December 18th, what can we be doing? We want to make sure, once again, that Congress does know that we're going to keep saying this, and we're repeating it because we want to make sure that you're using this in your messaging back when you're at home and you're talking with your legislators or your staff or even the business community writ large, is that EB5 is the capital potential that could actually help a lot of the businesses that we see in saving the jobs. We've always referred to it as a job creator, but it really is it could save the jobs too, so a job saver. And that's what we've been doing with our advocacy letter, which we can kind of go into the next slide, Ashley. When we look at what we've been doing and putting a lot of our efforts into is, at the end of that video, you saw the video say, go to IIUSA/letter. which is the letter that we would be sending to Congress, alerting them to saying, hey, EB-5 needs to be utilized. Doing that, we've been trying to, this is a letter that's been used in the past where we've really gone and had the few hundred of the IIUSA members would sign on and then we would send that. What we've tried to do now is really expand that. And so we've gone further and saying, okay, you may not be a directly involved in the EB-5 industry. However, whatever you're doing, your industry is benefited. And so if you can look here, some of our larger names that we've got, I'll go with the associations first, the U.S. Conference of Mayors. If we actually look at some of our local leaders, they understand the value. So we have the U.S. Conference of Mayors, which then allowed us to kind of get 2 individual mayors to join on board too. We have the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Asian American Hotel Owners Association, the American Hotel and Lodging Association. These are all very large organizations that obviously may touch but they know the interest of it, but they maybe now understand that there's a value there to it. So that EB-5 can be helping their local communities as we get out of this economic recession, or what we want to call it, whatever it's going to end up being. How can we move forward? EB-5 is that tool. So I make this plea a lot on our different phone calls, but because you already see the organizations that are here that are listed. That's only a small grouping of them. We do have others as well. I would really love it if for all those individuals, all those participants on this call today that are listening to us and saying, what's the association doing? Well, we can tell you what we're doing, but we need your help as well. And going and taking that message of saying, how can we get more people to sign on to the letter, is going to make the job that Keith and I are doing on the Hill much more effective. It's not going to make it easier, but it's going to make it much more effective, because what we can do is we can actually highlight into organizations back in the districts around the country, saying that they're also saying that they need EB-5. They need the regional center program to be a viable and effective program so that we can help our local communities. So I really am pleading with you all to go back, talk to your local mayors, talk to your chambers of commerce, get them on board. If you need information about the projects that are whether in your local area or throughout the state, we have it. We can get that for you to make your case to those organizations. But for us to be, as like I said, more effective, we want this list to grow. We don't want it to be 370. We want it to be 500. We want it to be 1,000. Whatever that number is going to be at the end of the day, is when we go to the Hill, we're going to be able to say, these are the organizations in your district or in your state that are also in agreement. This could be a vital tool for our economic recovery. And I think that's what we need to continually play, because that's going to get us that long-term reauthorization. If they know that if there's potentially $9 billion out there, that's going to help with the jobs, either save jobs or create jobs. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that now. So that's what we'll be doing, and that helps us looking into the next Congress. So with our updated, we talked about some of the things that we're already working on. We also need to start focusing on what's going to happen in January. So what the new members of Congress, say if there's a shift in power there in the legislative branch, but then also what happens in the executive branch. So whether the Trump administration maintains or there's a Biden administration, we need to make sure that we're prepared. And this letter is going to help us be prepared for that new administration or the continuing of the Trump administration. So please, your homework really from us is really to kind of go and get a local mayor or a local chamber of commerce to kind of engage with us and get them on board. I have nothing else to add. I'm not sure, Keith, if you have anything to add, or Aaron, if you have anything to add on that.
Sure, not I. Keith?
Okay.
Nope.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you, George and Keith, for that update. The next thing on our agenda is what Aaron's going to share with you about our FOIA litigation, our Freedom of Information Act litigation. This is something that an activity that's a little bit newer for us in the last 6 to 9 months or so. Let's see here, I'm getting Aaron back up on the screen here. I will go ahead and get started. Well, actually, Aaron, why don't you maybe quickly explain why we're doing FOIA litigation, and then we can go through and I can give the details on what the individual requests were and then where we are within those complaints.
Yeah, perfect. I was gonna lean on you for that, so I'm grateful. Thanks. Earlier this year, frustration with USCIS's responsiveness to IIUSA's Freedom of Information Act Freedom of Information Act requests reached a bit of a tipping point. The board of directors decided to take a more aggressive stance, and they instructed staff to begin filing lawsuits to compel USCIS to provide our requested information, or at the very least explain why it can't be provided. As you know, Ashley, she just mentioned, has always facilitated IIUSA's FOIA requests. She's very aware of the protocols, the processes, the deadlines, communications that are necessary. As you also know, our colleague and emeritus board member, David Anderson, is a very confident and skilled litigator and has been able to provide guidance in the process. To be effective, however, and manage our litigation costs, all that we were missing was a member of the DC and federal district courts, bars to act as the association's functionary and to file our complaints and pleadings. To that end, I was more than happy to reactivate my bar membership and be sworn into the federal district court. Since then, the association established a very effective follow-through process to help expedite our FOIA requests and the ensuing litigation. Simply put, Ashley determines what information we need and files the FOIA requests based on usual protocols from IIUSA, as well as information requests that we may receive from the board or officers or committee members. She marks the 20-day deadline by which we should hear anything back from USCIS. And in the meanwhile, anticipating that the 20 days will come and go without hearing from USCIS or seeing any work product, I prepare a complaint noting the agency's statutory failure, and I file a lawsuit as close to the 21st day following the FOIA request's deadline as possible. To date, as you'll see on the screen, we have filed 3 lawsuits. And this is where I'll rely on you a little bit, Ashley, to walk through the substance of your initial FOIA requests, and I can give everybody an update of where we are quickly on litigation. So
Sure.
number 1.
So the first one you see there on your screen is the I-526 adjudicator training materials. We submitted this request in December of 2019, and there were actually 2 separate requests, one for adjudicator training materials used on petitions submitted prior to November 21st, 2019, and the training materials used for petitions filed after November 21st, 2019. If you'll remember, that is the date in which the new regulations went into effect. So we were seeking the adjudicator training materials that were specific to petitions filed before and after the new regulations were in effect. And you can see there that we filed the complaint in March of 2020, just a few months ago. This was our first complaint, so we were working some kinks out in the system. And I'll let Aaron explain sort of where we are in the process of that complaint.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head already. We filed a complaint March 2nd, and we entered into a joint scheduling agreement with the Department of Justice, who obviously is representing USCIS and Department of Homeland Security in the matter. And although they are actually a little bit behind schedule, they have been diligent in providing the materials that they agreed to provide in our joint scheduling conference. So far so good there. We expect the balance of what is owed pursuant to our agreement, hopefully by the end of the month.
And the next complaint you see there was for our requests that were for the FY 2017 I-924As. This is a yearly request that we make, and I should mention also that the adjudicator training materials are something that we request on a regular basis. But the 924As are particularly important because these are the documents that Lee from our team uses to create the economic impact reports that we all have come to rely on. We used to request these documents every year, and they would come relatively quickly. I say that relative was about several months, and then a couple of years ago we started waiting a year plus, and then receiving information back that wasn't even what we requested, or everything that we needed that was pertinent was redacted. So These this request you can see was filed in March of 2018. So we're looking at 2.5 years ago, and we still have no response. So seeing how important the information that we received back in these requests, I felt that it was important that we put this to a complaint as well. And we have other, obviously that's FY 2017. So we have 18, 19, and soon the 20s will be coming up. So I felt because this one was so old, it was worthwhile to get a complaint going. So Aaron, I'll let you explain where we are in the process of that one.
Sure. There's some recent developments here. So as soon as Ashley asked, ran it up and said, Aaron, you need to file a complaint. We did. We filed a complaint on 7/30 on July 30th. Just this week, I heard last week, an answer was filed by the Department of Justice. I reached out to opposing counsel to schedule a conference to discuss how we may schedule document production. She was very cordial in responding, and we have a conference call set for tomorrow afternoon to begin discussing document production there. She actually did indicate in her first email back to me that she's been in touch with USCIS already on the matter, and that USCIS is beginning to pull those documents pursuant to these very old requests. But it was the complaint that shook the tree, and so we will continue on. We're seeing some success here. Next.
Sure, and I'll just add to that one too. I believe they said they have over 6,000 pages of responsive records. So I guess that's to be expected, seeing that every active regional center, sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied there, has to file a 924A. So we're hopeful for some really helpful and juicy information coming from those soon. And then the last complaint that we currently have filed is for the redeployment policy records. And this was filed just last month. And we just recently filed the complaint. These are policy records related to the new redeployment policy that was implemented at the end of July. So we were basically seeking information about how they came to the conclusion that this new policy would come to be. And I want to take a minute to thank John Pratt quickly for this one. He drafted the FOIA request verbiage for us that was rather detailed. So I just want to thank him really quick for that. I will admit, since I am not an attorney, my requests for these records probably would not have been as substantive and thorough. So thank you, John, for your help there.
And just to tie this up real quickly, that complaint was filed on September 3rd. I'll add that the broader strategy in filing this particular complaint and Ashley and the association's reliance on John Pratt for actually developing the FOIA request is that the nature of the guidance for redeployment, in many folks' opinion, is egregious and likely is considered a policy change. And therefore questions around the nature and the protocols, the process that USCIS used to implement this policy change as opposed to issuing simply guidance were ill-founded. So we're anticipating that a likelihood of further litigation around the guidance itself. And in an effort to prepare for that likelihood, we felt that expediting a complaint for this particular FOIA request was in order. It's almost as if we're executing a method of discovery, but just doing it through a FOIA request and lawsuit initially. We'll see what USCIS sends back to us. But in the overall scheme of things, I'm pleased to say that USCIS has been more responsive to the federal courts, at least, than it has been to us. We entered into our first joint scheduling agreement, as I mentioned, and this more aggressive stance, I want to assure everybody, is indeed aggressive, but it's not combative. My interactions with DOJ attorneys thus far representing USCIS have been cordial and professional and productive. It seemed that all anybody needed was a bit of encouragement from the other branch of government. So Ashley and I look forward to keeping all of you apprised of our progress end results. So thank you very much, Ashley.
Thank you, Aaron. So the next portion of our webinar here is a little more interactive. I'm going to hand it over to Lee here shortly, who is going to give you a tutorial of the new investor markets portal, as well as his TEA map. I believe Lee launched a 2.0 version of the investor markets portal yesterday. So if you've played around with it at all, there are some updates, I believe. So I will turn it over to Lee, who's going to give you a fun interactive tour of both the portal and the TEA map. And then from there, we'll roll right into a quick little tour of our new website that I know Aaron mentioned right at the beginning of the webinar. We launched a new website about a month ago, and then I will give you a tour of our EB5 education library. So just a quick little snapshot of what we're going to be up to over the next several minutes. Lee?
Thank you, Ashley. I will make it as fun as possible. So I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay. So I assume you are able to see my website.
You're good.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. So hi, everyone. This is Lily. I'm the Director of Policy Research and Data Analytics in IIUSA. So as you can tell from my title, if you need anything regarding EB5 data or policy research, I'm your guy. Today, I'm very excited to show you our new EB5 Investor Markets Data Portal. Just a little bit of background here. As you know, IIUSA, we have a lot of data. And so in June this year, we launched this new members-only resource, and we would like to provide our members with access to our extensive data intelligence on EB5 investor markets. And in the last 3 months, we already have more than 670 members use this tool across the world. We have users from overseas and domestic, and we would like to keep this number growing. And without further ado, let me show you how to access and use this data portal. So it is on our website. In case you have not noticed, we have a brand new website. Actually, we'll talk more about that just in a second. But if you go to our website, under resources and data, go to EB5 Investor Markets. So it will take you to this landing page of the portal. And then you can just click Launch Portal. And first of all, it will ask you to log in your IIUSA members account. So you can just enter your email and your password here. And if you are not yet a member, I can only offer you a piece of advice. Join now. And you can do so here. Once you enter your email and password, you can just log in. And then here you go. This is our investor markets data portal. And so once you log in, and if you just log in the website on the member portal, you can also click data portal on top to just access the portal easily. And as a pro tip, I also bookmark this tab, so you can always have this resource handy on your browser. So just be ready for a feast of EB5 statistics. And for starters, we have a map that shows you the latest amount of EB5 investment by country. And you can just hover the country to see the latest estimates of EB5 investment raised from this market. For example, India investor from India accounted for 476 million EB5 investment in 2018, and Brazil 70 million, and so on. And the map, the nice thing about the map is also it visualizes the distribution of EB5 investors across the world. So you can see Southeast Asia is really the hotbed or hotspot of EB5 markets in the world. And then if you like the map as much as I do, you can also click here and print it out. And feel free to hand it in your office and in your bedroom if you like it really much. And if you scroll down, there are two leaderboards here. On the left side, it shows the top markets with the largest amount of EB5 investments by year. So you can see the number of I-526 filings from this market and our estimate on the EB5 capital raised from this market in 2018. And then the reason why we do not have a more updated numbers is that we're still waiting for USCIS to send us the FOIA response which I'm sure you are all up to speed after our sessions, after Aaron and Ashley talk about our FOIA litigations. So 2018 numbers is the best we have right now, and if we do have more up-to-date numbers, we will update it here. So the left one is the top markets, and the right one is a list of what we call rising stars. These are the markets with the highest percentage growth year over year. So as you can see, Macau has some strong momentum here with 331% annual growth year over year for 526 filings. And also we can see India and South Korea also maintain a very high percentage growth rate despite they're already a huge market, relatively speaking. And then this is the leaderboard. And if you keep scrolling down, and this is the EB5 Invest Market Snapshot. It gives you an overview of the market performance since 2008. For example, if you can choose any markets here, if I choose Argentina, and I did not know there were over 100 investors from Argentina for EB5 since 2008, accounted for more than 40 million investment amount. And also it tells you EB5 have helped more than 170 Argentinian applicants to receive their green card and immigrant to the US legally. And we think this statistic would be helpful on two fronts. One, they give you the overview of market size right here, but also I think they would be useful when you talk to potential investors in each market. For example, if I'm a potential investors, let's say from Brazil, and if you can tell me that nearly 1,500 green cards has been issued to my fellow Brazilian applicants through EB5, that sounds pretty sweet to me. So here's the EB5 investor market snapshot. And you can just change any other markets to view their performance. And we have 94 markets at your disposal. Like the big ones, China, and also India. So spend as much time as you want here. And if you keep scrolling down, this is what I call the entree of our resource, of our feast today. So on the menu, we have I-526 filings by year. So we can see the trend of I-526 filings from Indian investors since 2008. So you can see a very strong growth in the last 10 years or 12 years. And the number of I-526 filings by year and the amount of EB5 capital raised. And also, in addition, we added I-526 filings by quarter. And if you like data as much as I do, I hope you will appreciate this to have a more detailed breakdown of the 526 filings in each fiscal year by quarter. In addition to that, we also have EB5 visa annual usage for each market by year. So you can see how many EB5 visas numbers have been used by each market and the percentage of their market share in terms of the worldwide EB5 visa usage. And then what I really want to highlight here is our new additions here. We just added I-526 processing times and approval rate just this week. So if you go to I-526 processing time here, so here, it actually, so the data is based on our analysis of more than 9,000 I-526 cases in 2017, 2018, and 2019. And then the data highlight on the right side shows you the distribution of the country-specific processing time for each market. Like for example, 50% of the Indian investors in our data sample received their 526 adjudication within 14 months, which is a little bit lower than the worldwide average of 18 months. And this is our estimate, our analysis based on nearly 430 EB5 investors who filed their 526 petitions in the past. And then on the left side, if you can harvest those procs, it shows you more detailed breakdown or distribution of their processing time over time. So what I think this will be very useful is that it shows you, for example, Q1 means 25% of the investors received their 526 adjudications actually within 13.75 months versus 75%, look at the Q3 data, received their adjudications within 21 months. So I think this will be useful when I have a nervous investor reach out to me saying, how come my 526 still pending for like 24 months? And in addition to sending these investors the disheartening USCIS processing time page, you can also have additional insights from our portal here. So you can let them know this is maybe the medium of the worldwide processing time is 18 months, while 75% of the 526 petitioners actually do not receive their 526 adjudications until 26 months here. So hope you like this new addition. And also we have a new mini menus here that allows you to change the market of interest very easily and view their statistics. So which one? Let's go to Vietnam. So you can see investors from Vietnam and their processing time distributions. So this is the add-on of our new processing time trends for each important EB5 markets. Another valuable data point that I will bring out is this I-526 approval rate. So this is also based on our analysis of more than 9,000 I-526 cases filed by all the investors in the past. And based on our analysis, for example, here of more than 800 EB5 investors from Vietnam, this is the trend of their 526 approval rate over time between 2016 to 2019, and in comparisons to the worldwide average. And you can see here, Vietnam actually enjoys higher than worldwide average approval rates for their 526 petitions. And if you look at maybe another market, Iran, actually their 526 approval rate is a little bit lower, just a little bit lower than the worldwide average here. So this shows you the trends over time and in comparison to the worldwide average as well for each country. I hope you enjoy this. And then beyond these numbers, we also have other resources that help you to conquer the world for EB5. And for example, if we look at South Korea, so here is their processing time. You can change the country here. Sorry, this is the approval rate, and this is their processing time. In addition to these numbers, we also have network tab, and these are our professional networks on the ground that can help you to extend your business relations in this market. So these are our members and partners on the ground in South Korea. And you can just contact them via email or look at their website before you head to South Korea, or if you want to expand your market there. And if you want to change your market here, for example, China, we also have a lot of professional networks on the ground as well. And then in addition to networks, we have upcoming events for each country. So FYI, we are going to have a virtual industry forum in November. My colleague Mackenzie is happy to talk more about that in just a second. And if you just want to register now, you can just click here, and I suggest you do so if you have not done so. In addition to upcoming events, we also have country-specific resource like research and insights. So you can have a link to our video that we just played, and also our investor market webinar recordings for South Asia here, and also our report. So we have recorded report, videos, all kinds of resources to help you gain extra insight for each important market. Just pick your poison. And so this is our new EB5 investor markets data portal, and I hope you enjoy this. And if you have any questions on any other statistics that we have not already covered here, please do not hesitate to reach out. And in addition to this investor market portal, we also have other valuable tools that covers important industry topics. For example, our TA tool. So if you go back to our main website, under resources and data, go to targeted employment area. So this is the landing page of all the TA mapping tools that we offer. And one awesome thing is they're free, so we appreciate if you can join as a member too. So you can just click launch the map here. And this is our TA mapping tools that shows you all the census tracts in the US and whether or not they will independently qualify as the TEA, whether under a rural area as highlighted in green or under a high unemployment area as highlighted in red. And then you can always zoom in, zoom out, and click to get extra analysis and data. And also, if you have a place in mind, you can also search it. For example, we are based in Washington, D.C. Let me just do Washington, D.C. And it will zoom to this area of your interest and shows you all of the census tracts in this area and whether they are qualified as a TEA independently. So if you click any of the census tract, it will show you the name of the census tract on the right side panel, and also other geographic location data like the MSA, the county, and the name of the city that this census tract is located. So also it will show you TA qualification of this census tract, whether it will qualify as a TA under high unemployment area or rural area. And I guess this is pretty awesome is because we also shows you in which data set that the unemployment rate would allow this census tract to qualify as a TEA. So we check two important data sets. One is the ACS American Community Survey data for 5-year estimates from the US Census Bureau. And other data sets that we check is the NOWS data from BLS as well. So we presented this unemployment data under these two important data sources here as well for census tract. So you can see the unemployment rate of this census tract is this much, number of civilian labor force is this many, and under the ACS and under the NOWS data. And in addition to the census tracts, we also show you the county level data, the MSA level data, and the city level data as well. So a lot of data here. And in addition to the area, if you have any other locations, let's say you may have a potential project in a locations and you would like to check whether it's qualified as a TEA, you can also enter your location, the project location here as well. So for example, our office is in 1443 Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. So it takes you to this location. Actually, we are located in the TEA. So under the NOWS data, the BLS 1-year estimate allows us to qualify as a TEA because we have an unemployment rate of 160% of the national average. So if you would like to build IIUSA and office building using EB5, I'm all ears. And this is the TA mapping tool. It's free, but also it's important to note that this mapping tool only shows you independent TAs. What it means is that since the new regulations allows you to aggregate any adjacent census tract to compose a TEA to look at their weighted average unemployment rate. So if a tract that does not qualify as a TEA independently, for example, like this one, and as long as it touches any red census tract, it could still be able to qualify as a TEA by combining the adjacent census tract around this project tract. So IIUSA's member network has a lot of TA experts and who can offer you not only in-depth TA analysis, but also tools like TA mapping tools to allow you to check project location as well. So just check out our member directory for more information. And this is the TA mapping tool. And again, if you have any questions, click here and you can send me an email with your questions, comments, feedback. And by the way, I'm going to bed usually at 11 p.m. Eastern time, so plan accordingly. I guess this is pretty much I have. I hope you enjoy this little tutorial of our investor market data and also for our TA mapping tool. I'm going to turn it to Ashley to show you the rest of our new website and also the new LMS. Ashley?
Thanks, Lee. I think we can all agree that we're very lucky to have Lee in our camp. He kept saying, we did this, we did that, but Lee creates those tools pretty much on his own, and it's very impressive. And Lee, I'll just let you know in the chat box here, we have a couple of great job, Lee. This is amazing. So I think we all share those sentiments. And really quick, I did see a question about the TEA map that I wanted to clear up, that this is just a tool to help you better understand TEA qualifications, but you still will need to get a TEA approved through the normal channels. This is not a tool to bypass that. So it's just there to help you determine where maybe where you want to do a project, or if you have a project in the pipeline, if that does or doesn't qualify for a TEA, but still make sure that you're using an economist and going through your legal counsel and the normal procedures for getting a TEA approved. So next we are going to do a quick little tour of the new website. Lee showed you a couple of our tools. I'm not going to click through every single thing that you see up here, but we launched this new website, I said earlier, about a month ago. We're really excited about it. It's a little more dynamic and easier to use than our previous website. It has a nice clean look to it. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it yet, I highly encourage you to look and see everything we have to offer here after the webinar. But I'm just going to have Lee direct the mouse up to the top of the page there on our menu bar. You'll see there on the, when you hover over, there's a drop down. So underneath each category is some more information. So in the About section there, you'll see you can get information about staff, our board, committees, leadership circle, the partners, some of which were mentioned during Lee's investor markets portal tutorial, as well as other partners we have here domestically. And also if you're looking for our best practices, those are all available under there with contact information and more info that you would need on any of those things. The next tab is our membership tab. So all the things you need for membership are nicely packaged under this tab. If you're looking to join IIUSA, the membership application is located under there. If you are looking to become a member and wanting to know what the benefits are, you can quickly find our member benefits and our member directory, which is really helpful. If you are looking to get into our member portal, which is for members only, you can get to your login right there nice and quickly. And anything you want for our membership is located under there. And also information about our affinity program. You can go there too, which is a newer program, and I encourage you to check it out. We're going to skip over the education tab quickly because I'm going to come back to that at the end of this. Next is our advocacy tab. This is where you can get more information about EB5 success stories. This is a good place to point people who are looking for what has EB5 done around the country. The letter of support that was mentioned earlier by both Aaron and George and Keith is right there. I also sent a link in the chat function. So that letter of support link is also in the chat if you're looking for it. But this is probably one of the most important advocacy things we are doing right now. So if you are going to be, and we certainly encourage you to reach out to your local chambers, mayors, local elected officials, this is where you would go to find that letter and see all the other signatories that are on there. You can also contact Congress through this tab. The events tab is very important. It shows all of our events that are upcoming, gives you the events calendar, which also includes any of our partner events that we are associated with. So everything events is all under this tab. The news and publication tab is also a great one. This is where you can access our blog, our newsletters that are sent out over email are archived there, and our digital version of the Regional Center Business Journal. For anyone who attends our in-person conferences that we have domestically here in the spring and the fall, normally we distribute hard copies of the Regional Center Business Journal. It's always available digitally, but this year, due to COVID and not being together in person, we haven't been printing hard copies. So if you're looking for our most recent edition, you can find it here, and we'll be also publishing our fall edition in the next several weeks here. So look for it there. And then obviously, Lee just went over the resources and data tab. That's where you'll find the investor market portal, the TEA map, and lots of other tools and information. This is a jam-packed tab here with everything you could need to inform yourself for your business. So I'm going to have Lee go back over to that education tab. Quickly under here, you'll see the About EB5. That's kind of our quick fact sheets. So if you're looking for something to give to someone that gives some quick background information on EB5, that will be under the About EB5 button there. You'll see the EB5 education library and the learner login. So if you are already, you already have a login for the education library, you can quickly access it right there and it will take you to anything that you've already accessed and purchased in the education library. But I'll have Lee click the EB5 education library. And this is a really exciting tool that we launched in beta mode about 2 years ago now. And then we upgraded the system about a year and a half ago. And then just recently with the new website, we have an all new education library. And it's possible that a lot of you don't even know this exists, but every webinar that we've hosted over the last several months, since we have been doing a lot of virtual programming this year, you can find all of those here. We've also done a couple of other webinars that were not live that are available here as well. There's a lot of great education tools. We also have a couple of conference recordings from previous conferences. And I think my favorite one, probably because it was the very first thing of our education library, is the EB5 Basics course. This was the first course we launched for the education library just about 2 years ago. And this is a great tool to use for onboarding new employees, or if you're looking to if someone's looking to understand EB5 a little bit more than a fact sheet level understanding and getting to know a little bit more background about the program, the EB5 Basics module is perfect for that. Lee, I'll have you go ahead and click into that. So this is just to give you an idea about how any of the courses look. If you click Learn More, you'll get to this page. You'll see how much the cost is, and then it'll give you a summary of what the course is. And so the EB5 Basics course in particular is a 4-part course that has quizzes at the end of each portion. Is the only course we actually have that has a quiz right now. So it's really just to help test your knowledge and make sure that you're absorbing the information as we go through the various steps of the course. And something else I want to point out is you'll see that price at the top. That is our base price, and that's for non-members. And all IIUSA members, as you'll see right there, are entitled. For this one, it's an 85% discount. It varies by course. Some courses you can get for free if you're a member. Other ones are 50% off. So you can always contact me if you're not sure what the discount code is, but it's also available in the member portal if you search for discount codes. So make sure if you're a member, you're not paying full price. And if you aren't a member, I highly recommend joining, because this is just one of the many benefits you get to being a member, is getting significant discounts on these really great courses that we have in the library. So I just wanted to show everyone this so you can see our new library. I know there are quite a few people who access our old one. This one's a little bit more streamlined. So you'll see that you're not enrolled. So if you want to take this course, you would click Take this course. And the next page is where you would enter your information. So you'll see right there, returning customer, click here to log in. So we don't have too many people who have accounts with this new library since we just launched it. So likely you'll have to create an account if you haven't accessed anything in the last 4 weeks or so. So that's where you would do that if you already already have a login. Is click there. More importantly, I think, is if you have a coupon there that I just mentioned, for if you are a member and looking for your discount, that's where you would enter it right there. So make sure you don't miss that step. And then obviously just entering in your billing information. And then if you aren't already with a login, it will ask you to do that at the bottom and create your account. And then you would click place your order, and then it will give you immediate access to the course. So it's pretty straightforward. I think it's a little bit easier than what the old system was that we had. So anyone who used the old one, hopefully you'll see the improvements here. And we're really excited. I highly encourage everyone to take a minute and look at all of the courses that we have in the library. There are, I didn't count before I started, but I'd say it's closer to the maybe the 20 or so mark. And there's a lot of really good stuff, and we're adding to it every day. Every time we have a webinar, we're adding, and all of the panels for our upcoming virtual conference will all be added on there. So you'll have access to that. If you're unable to make it, then you'll be able to access them after the fact. So there's just a plethora of information there. And I'm happy to answer any questions at the end of this if people have them, or as always, feel free to reach out to me. So I think that is everything I have on the website tour and the education library. So I'm just checking my notes here to make sure I didn't forget anything. And I believe the next thing we're going to be doing is I'm going to hand this over to my colleague, Mackenzie Penton, who is going to talk about events and membership.
Thanks, Ashley. And I'm sure people are eager to get to the Q&A portion here. So I'll do my best to be as succinct as possible. I think Bob said at the beginning of this call that 2020 has been an unprecedented year, and I think that perhaps is a bit of an understatement. But I'm happy to be able to report that the association remains on strong footing, both on the event and membership fronts. This year certainly has had its fair share of challenges. However, we have been able to successfully pivot many of the association's events to our newly established virtual platforms. And in fact, this spring, the association launched 2 new live webinar streaming events focused on investor markets, as well as legislative and government affairs. While our preference, of course, is to have been connecting our members, investors, and other industry stakeholders at in-person events, our new investor market series has been successful in providing members with unique and timely business development and marketing platforms. Since its launch this spring, the Investor Market Series has successfully been hosted to bring together our members with agents, financial advisors, and investors from around the globe. And to date, we've covered markets in India, Russia, South Africa, Brazil, Latin America, and South Asia. Each of our live events has attracted well over 150 registrants and have really proved to be critical to our members' marketing efforts. They've also, of course, allowed the association to formalize and build upon our partnerships with organizations around the world, including the World Trade Center Network, the PhD Chamber of Commerce in India, the Johannesburg, South Africa Chamber of Commerce, the Taiwan Immigration Consultants Association, the Korean Immigration Association, and the Investment Migration Council, to name just a few of them. I think the important point I want to make here for our listeners today is that these events are open to the public in terms of listening, but they are reserved for members to participate and to speak and sponsor. We do, of course, pride ourselves on providing all stakeholders with valuable educational opportunities, but we really like to reserve the opportunity to participate in these for our members as an important member benefit. I think that this benefit has allowed our members to continue their overseas marketing efforts through our channels, as we've all been grounded from travel, and has provided really members a valuable leg up on some of the industry competition that is out there. I say that to highlight the support, first and foremost, of our members, which have been critical to the success of all of our virtual events this year, but also, of course, to point out to the non-members on this discussion one of the many benefits that you're missing out on. So we're already looking ahead to an important Q4 and really Q1 of 2021 of investor markets events, with discussions already starting on Middle East and North Africa, as well as South Korea and Taiwan as well. So stay tuned for some more information on the upcoming investor market webinar series. I think, Lee, if you can go to the next slide, that would be great. As a couple folks have mentioned, I did want to quickly update people on our virtual EB5 industry forum that will be taking place this fall. The event will be held over the course of 2 weeks and takes place over the dates of our previously scheduled in-person event. We're looking forward to 5 days of educational programming in business development platforms that the event will provide. And I think I virtually can see everybody's eyes glazing over when I say 5 days. So I think it's probably beneficial for me to highlight the schedule. Our program is going to be broken up into 5 key buckets of information, including government affairs, investor markets, industry litigation, regional center and project trends, and new and emerging topics in EB5 and beyond. And then each topic area will be covered during 2 hours of webinar programming on individual days. The programming will be conducted over the course of 2 weeks between November 10th and the 19th. So we're hopeful that this is a more time-friendly format that allows you to take in our valuable programming while not being glued to your computers for 24/7 of an event. As some of you, or hopefully all of you, recently seen, we did announce 2 of our guest of honor speakers for the conference. Mr. Charlie Oppenheim, the Chief of the Visa Controls Office at the Department of State, as well as Sarah Kendall, Chief of the IPO at USCIS, will be joining us for the event, which is great, and both will have opportunities for members and other participants to ask questions of those key participants. So again, as others have already done, I encourage you to register for the important event. We do still have speaking and sponsorship slots available, but they are filling up quickly. And Ashley is diligently working to finalize the schedule as we speak. And I've been told that the last day we'll be able to guarantee speaking roles for sponsors, as well as the early bird deadline for our tickets is September 30th. So just 2 weeks from now. So please do get in touch with me if you're interested in getting involved from a marketing standpoint, or as a speaking or as a participant and speaker. Lee, if we can go to the next slide. Quickly, as was highlighted at the beginning of this call, the association has had some really great success on membership growth and development this year, really facilitated by the introductory member program that was launched in beta mode in December of last year, and then fully ratified by a vote of the membership this past spring. In short, the program was developed as a way to get new member organizations on board and engaged with the association's work at a lower barrier to entry. And I'm really happy to report that to date it's been a great success to the tune of 43 new members who've joined since late last year, 7 of whom are regional centers, and 13 groups from investor markets around the world. As we look ahead to an important year for the industry and hopefully a return to some semblance of normalcy, I'm anticipating, and we're anticipating, that this program will continue to help grow and diversify the associations both in the US and in the key markets around the world. Again, speaking to the non-members on this call, I'm hoping you're finding all this information today to be valuable and enticing. Again, I would be happy to schedule a call with any people on this call who aren't members yet of the association to discuss the benefits that we've covered here, as well as the other benefits, and there's a lot that haven't even been covered yet. So please feel free to get in touch with me regarding the introductory program and how you can get involved. And then finally, Lee, the cash rebate program is the last point I wanted to touch on here. This slide's pretty self-explanatory, but I did want to quickly mention the association's new cash rebate program. In short, we're always appreciative of the work of our members as it relates to our efforts to grow the association and broaden our network around the country and around the world. Members have played a critical role in the success of the above-mentioned introductory member program, and have been integral to our continued success in growing the association over the years. As that is already the case, we figured it was really time to recognize our members' support. So we're happy to announce that we're now offering members who help drive growth of the IIUSA membership a 15% cash rebate. We're not asking members to undertake any marketing efforts on behalf of the association, although that would be admittedly great if you wanted to. But we are asking, but all we're really asking is for you to recommend IIUSA membership or introduce IIUSA staff to your clients and partners. It's really that simple. And we hope that current members will find it to be both a new member benefit, but also something that members and non-members alike will find value in and take advantage of to help really grow our long-term goals. I think with that, that's probably enough on events and membership. As again, I'm always happy to connect with anyone that wants to learn more about marketing and business development platforms that the association provides. And as a reminder, I see a chat there from Ashley as well. We're getting to the end here, so feel free to begin asking your questions in the chat function that's on the right-hand side of your screens. Thank you for everyone's time.
Thanks, Mackenzie. And just reiterating about the virtual conference we have coming up in November. We're really excited about it. Mackenzie mentioned the format that we're doing over 5 days. Each day we'll have, depending on the day, 2 to 3 panels each day, and each panel will be about an hour long, and then we are providing an hour break in between. So it'll give you time to catch up on emails, take phone calls, grab lunch, whatever it may be. So you're not glued to your computer for hours on end each day. So we're hopeful that this format is a little more conducive to work life in general, but also for many of us still the work from home life. So just wanted to give a little bit more context to the schedule, and we do have the full schedule with times listed on the website now, so check that out. If you do have questions, please use the chat function. Right now we're going to get to, we have a few questions on there that I'll go ahead and ask, but if you have any other ones, please send them in the chat function. We have about 15 minutes here till the end of our time, so we'd like to try to get to any questions you have. The first one will be for probably George and Keith and maybe Aaron. Any additional thoughts on the future outlook of S386 and how IIUSA is advocating on that?
This is Aaron. I'm happy to jump in to try and answer that question, and obviously rely on our lobbyists to correct me. The future of S386, as I read the tea leaves, is suspect. There aren't very many more legislative days on the calendar that would allow the Senate to pick up debate on the matter. And they're clearly going to have their hands full as well with regards to finally passing some sort of additional COVID relief bill. So in my opinion, I don't think there's really going to be much more discussion about S386 in this legislative calendar year. That said, being prepared is always important, because in the past the legislation has been moved as a hotline or an effort to quickly get unanimous consent from all the senators and move the bill along without debate. Don't see that in the future, but we are ready. George or Keith, do you guys have anything else, or have I overlooked anything in the answer?
I mean, this is George. I think you're right, Aaron. I think that I'm of the mindset that Senator Lee, in his last attempt to do this, was just that. He had to make one more strong play to get this bill considered under unanimous consent, and he wasn't able to do that. There is obviously a large contingent of supporters behind him to get that done. So I think this was kind of once again just him trying to show that he was continuing his effort for that. As Aaron said, we are preparing ourselves. We're doing outreach to Senate offices and trying to get, as we go, more and more meetings if we can, just to kind of alert them and to educate them once again on the EB5 program, and then what would happen if the bill, the way it currently is, the language of the bill that is currently standing, how it would impact the EB5 regional center and essentially kill the program for many, many years to come. And so we've been making that case to them, and we're hopeful that if it were to come back up again in that hotline for unanimous consent, that our message would be clear and be received, so that they would hopefully stop it. Or if we can get some language in the bill that would change it so that it would be much more, that it wouldn't impact our program as much, then that's what we would be doing. So we are working it, and we will continue to work it throughout.
Thank you.
If I may,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
I just want to add one other thought, and that is that I am very aware that this particular issue creates a dichotomy of thought on our association platform within the association family, that not everybody is wholeheartedly against S386, especially given what it pretends to do for wait times for Chinese investors. That said, some of the evaluations that we've seen and that we've conducted indicate that overall the wait times for Chinese investors, should the per country caps be lifted, aren't actually reduced as much as one would think. And that the number of factors floating around the analysis are so many that to endorse a bill like S386, given the impact it would have on the rest of the program, wouldn't be prudent for a great number of our members. So we're taking that into consideration. We're certainly not discounting it, and looking for a balanced approach with regards to the conversations that we have had and that we will continue to have.
Great, thank you for that. Our next question, I think I can quickly answer myself, was Aaron mentioned a meeting in person in the spring. Can you please clarify which event he was referring to? So you may remember that we were supposed to meet in Orlando this fall in November for our industry forum. Obviously, we're not doing that, but we did reschedule the Orlando event for the spring, and I don't remember the exact dates. I think it's either late April or early May. We haven't officially announced it yet, but we are planning on having our 2021 industry forum in late spring. So be on the lookout for communications on that coming in the next weeks or month or so. Again, we haven't officially announced it yet, but we are looking forward to be able to see everybody in person in 2021. So that is what he was referring to. Our next question, and this is the last one I'm seeing right now. So if you have a question, last call. Lee, I think this will be a question for you to answer. Thank you for holding the meeting today. You're very welcome. Can I ask if we can access I-485 and I-829 approval data based on countries in the member portal in the future?
Sure. Thank you, Ashley. So for I-829, we are planning to add those data to the investor data portal, maybe in a few months, but we do not have any country-specific data on I-485 yet. But there's a good inspiration. So sorry for adding more work to you, Ashley, for our FOIA requests.
I think it's more like, sorry, FOIA, for adding more information that we're going to need from them. And I think, let's see here. Looking, I got another question in here. How is the post-COVID growth in reshoring trend going to affect or conflict with EB5? Reshoring of American companies, that is. Not sure who the right answer or right person to direct this to would be.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. How is the post-COVID growth in reshoring of American companies going to affect and or conflict with EB5? I'm not sure if we have an answer for that.
It's a good question. This is Aaron. It's a good question for sure. Maybe I'm just a glass is half full typically, but I wouldn't see any reshoring as conflicting with EB5. If anything, it might augment the opportunity for EB5 investors to participate in that economic development. I think some of the unused aspects of EB5 speak to distressed businesses. That's not to say that a reshoring company would be distressed, but it does speak to the economic development that a reshored company would spur. And to the extent businesses around an organization like that would require investment to get back on its feet post-COVID, or to the extent any of these organizations that are reshoring would need new facilities, I can certainly see EB5 playing a role in that economic development. That's a really good question, though, and it's definitely not one I've given thought to. It seems like one that some of our economists may want to weigh in on as well. So I took note. I appreciate the inquiry.
But Aaron, this is Bob. Could I just kind of
Sure.
add to that? I mean, you know, one of our strategies and beliefs has been that similar to the 2008, 2009 recession, EB5 played a very prominent role in recovery of the economy. And that's one of the main messages we've been carrying to the halls of Congress, that as we get out of this thing, EB5 again can be part of the answer to bring capital into the United States, whether it's in distressed businesses, infrastructure, or whatever it might be, to get the economy going again. And I think it actually represents it's a strong message, and it's a strong opportunity for the industry that we will be a big part of getting out of the ditch, so to speak, in the recovery that will happen in this country.
Thanks, Bob and Aaron, for that. We have one more question. I think this is going to be our last one. There is much speculation and rumors that the investment minimum for a TEA-approved project will dip below $500,000. Any insight, or are we expecting a one-year renewal of current legislation?
This is Aaron. We're expecting a one-year renewal of current legislation that is reflective of the regulations that speak to the 901.8 investment amounts.
Thanks, Aaron. Well, that is the conclusion of our webinar today. I'd like to thank my colleagues and Aaron and Mr. Kraft and George and Keith for their participation. I hope all of you attendees found the information in here useful and helpful, and maybe you even learned a few things that IIUSA has available that you didn't before. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us individually, or if you're not sure who to reach out to, you can, Lee, can you go to the last slide, please? You can go to, or sorry, you can email the info@iiusa.org, and we can direct your email to where it needs to go. And I look forward to virtually seeing all of you at our virtual industry forum in November. Don't forget to sign up, and hopefully we'll be seeing you all soon in 2021. Thank you so much.